Hey, what's up guys, it's Shawzo here, and this is Kingsport Lighthouse, and I've turned it into an Institute's research facility, and you're going to find out what that research is later in the video. This settlement has been requested quite a few times, and you can see why. It's a lighthouse. You can't really get any other settlement like this. I've very much been looking forward to doing something with this place, so yeah, you guys know the drill. I'm going to show you how I built the place with a nice tour at the end. So the first thing I'm going to do is tidy up the place a bit, and I'm going to get rid of the majority of the trees. But I'm going to keep a couple here and there just to keep it looking natural. And of course I've kept a few junky items around the settlement. Now the biggest issue of this place is of course this rooftop. And I've fixed up rooftops like this before, so it's going to be an easy job. I'm going to be using the same tactic I use for all of these rooftops, and that's the ball tracking items. Because they are the perfect angle to sit on these types of rooftops. And what I'm using here is the ball tracking merge piece, and this allows me to build it all in a straight line, keeping everything nice and equal. And I've done that across 8 times, and now we just fill in the gaps with the pillar. Now this part is very important for the rest of it, because this rack needs to be completely straight, completely equal with the rest of them. And now this allows me to get the merge kit and clip it onto the one that we've just put down. And it's basically just carrying on the rest, filling in all the gaps. Makes life a bit easier. And you want to do this until you have 15 racks all together. And now the rest is very easy. You simply just clip on the other side all the way across. Nicely done. And then when that's done, we just pick up the whole thing using the pillar, and we'll bring it over to this section of the house. I've put down a barn foundation just to make it easier to reach up there a bit better. I would definitely suggest saving it before you pick up the whole thing, because this is going to take a few tries as well. But it's all about finding that sweet spot. And where it dips in the green zone the most, that is the spot you want. And there we go, no gaps, sits on there nicely. Of course, behind the scenes it took me a couple of tries. Now it's time to move on to the other rooftop, and because this is so high up, it makes it a bit of a pain, so we're going to have to make ourselves a temporary platform. And it needs to be to this specific height, just to make things a bit easier. And we're going to do a generous platform, because I love loads of leg room when I'm doing stuff like this. Because of course I'm going to be picking up quite a big piece, so I need plenty of space. Just going to finish off the rest of the platform with these little ones right up against the house. And I'm going to grab myself a fire pit, believe it or not. Most of you would know why, but for those who don't, you're going to find out in a second. I've gone ahead and quickly built the rooftop for the last bit of the house. Again, it's very simple. We just pick up the whole thing using the pillar, move up to our little temporary platform. And this fire pit allows us to sink it onto this platform. And the position of the pillar and the fire pit needs to be the same for this to work. Now this one's a bit tricky. You need to kind of line up that red holographic line on either side of the racks just to make it equal. That's when you know it's straight. Then I put it back and dip it, find that sweet spot, and there we go. And just as a quick reminder, please save it before you attempt this, because if you get it wrong, you've got to build it all over again. And there we have it. That's our rooftop completely fixed. No rain's getting in. Of course there's a gap underneath where it's broken, but I'm going to fill that in with decorations. But now I'm going to fix up windows here and there. There's not many holes on the place. It's purely just windows and doors and things like that. So let's get into that, shall we? Now where the windows are on the flat wall, these warehouse windows are perfect. And the distance between the pillar and the window needs to be as far back as it possibly can. This allows you to put the window inside the existing wall without the wall bleeding through the other side. And there we go, we've now got a brand new window. As you can see, it doesn't bleed through and it only just reaches in there. Now with the other windows, they're not so flat, it kind of curves around, so I'm just going to use these barricades just to cover it up because we need some defense. And I'm just going to go ahead and finish off the rest of the house. And that's our house all fixed up now. I'm glad that there wasn't any holes in the walls, because this is probably the first house I've fixed up that looks kind of clean. It's just the rooftop and the windows that have been fixed up. Now I've noticed this old concrete drive going around the house, and I'm going to be using that as my first marker point for some new walls. And I do think it is very important to take advantage of old roads and pathways and things like that, because adding to it makes it very realistic within the game. It just makes it look like it belongs. It definitely expands out the settlement in a natural way. Finishing up on it, as you can see, it wraps around all the way to the lighthouse, and yeah, it looks quite natural in my opinion. I've also kept this little concrete section. It's just some wooden racks going across these concrete blocks. I've added a mattress to it for now. And of course I didn't scrap the vehicle, because why would you? So now I'm going to carry on the wall wrapping around the lighthouse, because as you can see there's a nice platform that goes around it. And it is very generous with the pillar. You might have to build a temporary platform just to get around the entire lighthouse. So I'm going to go ahead and do that quickly. I've done some extra bits and pieces behind the scenes. I've kept a gap going towards the house because I want access to the boathouse behind me. And of course you've got that metal staircase that's right next to the cliff. Now because this side of the settlement is pretty much exposed, whereas the other side is nice and walled off, I'm actually going to make a tree house for defence, because I feel like it's perfect for it really. This is a tree that you can't scrap and it's massive, so it's perfect for some kind of structure to go in there. And it's a very simple blueprint, just a prefab, couple of platforms and a load of barricades. And then we'll go back down using the pillar and we'll pick up the whole thing. Now this tree is generous in some parts, but in other parts not so much. But try and get it to this height and there is a nice sweet spot for you. And there we go, you can barely see me in the trees here. Very good defence post, and I'm not going to decorate it that much to be fair, because yeah, you want to keep it secret. You don't really want to know that it's a tree house. Yeah, it covers the entirety of this area. Now moving to this staircase, I want to make this area feel a bit more welcoming to the rest of the settlement. And there's this rocky cliff right next to it, and I want to do something with it. I want to reinforce it, and it's a very simple way of doing it. Just going to put down some shack foundations, and that leaves us with a slight issue. It actually overhangs, and we don't want that because that looks terrible. So let's try and fix it. Yeah, that's much better. Makes such a difference using the walls, gives it a proper reinforced look. This cliff edge idea, I actually got inspiration from a YouTuber named No Respawns, one of the OG settlement builders within the Fallout community. Most of you will probably know who he is, but for those who don't, I'm going to link that video in my description. I also want to quickly mention I added some walls from the tree to the house just to give it a bit more security, and I've put some corners where this entrance is just to make it a bit more welcoming. So now it's time to move on to the boathouse back here, and yeah, there's a few things that we can do. I'm actually going to wall off the upper area and close off the under area because the beach on either side I feel like is a security risk. So I'm going to get myself a fire pit again, grab myself a pillar and a wall, and this will allow me to start warding off the railings going all the way around. Keeping the railings exposed because yeah, that's going to add a bit of character here and there. And we'll sink this pillar where this sand is because yeah, it's a nice spot to get your walls ready. And we'll sink it here, keeping the railings on the outside. And as you guys probably guessed, I'm going to be wrapping this around right up to the staircase, so I'll see you guys in a second. And there we have it. It's starting to look like a fortress in a way. It's not really what I was going for, but definitely adds to the security because we don't want people coming from the beach. Now looking at the boat, I think this is going to be more of a decorational job. I'm not really going to build back here because it slopes down a bit and yeah, it's a boat, so I'm going to leave this one as a surprise for the tour for you guys to watch. Now the last thing I want to do is do something with this lighthouse because it's looking a bit bare in my opinion. It needs a little something. So I've made my own custom scaffolding just to make it look like we're making repairs on it and things like that. And I've done it in a way where it looks nice and stable, everything's connected up, and yeah, it looks pretty safe. And I'll just quickly show you how I did this. I've got myself a couple of staircases, put it to a specific height, and just made sure it was straight and central with the platform. And that's basically it. You just use your imagination from the rest of it. The lighthouse is very generous in terms of clipping stuff into it, so yeah, very simple stuff. And on that note, that is the build completely finished. And this just goes to show you don't have to make anything gigantic to make a massive difference. I'm very pleased how this has all turned out, but before we jump into the tour, I just want to show you guys how I decorate a shelf, as some of you have requested this. And I don't think I've shown any decorational tips on this channel, so most of you would know you can't place items on a shelf in build mode, so what I like to do is stack them all up on the floor in front of it, especially items that can easily be knocked over, such as bottles, cans, alarm clocks, anything that just sits up straight. And this just makes it a lot easier getting everything ready to put on the shelf, and there's a reason why you need to prop it up first, because it makes it a bit easier when you freestyle it. So what I'm doing here is ducking and pinching the top of the item. This allows you to pick it up in a way where it's not in an awkward angle and you can sit it up straight as high as possible. The higher you go, you might have to push it forward as you place it down for it to balance itself. And I'll give you a quick example of the angle. If you pick it up standing up, as you can see, the angle's just not right. Whereas if you pinch the top whilst ducking, it's just perfect. It sits up there nicely. Now there's certain items that don't sit up straight in build mode, so you kind of just have to lean it against something to straighten it out. These flags are a nightmare. I think this is the only item that's a bit of a nightmare, so that's the only tactic for that really. So yeah, I hope this has answered some of your questions. I'm now going to give you a few shots of what the house looked like before, and there's going to be a massive transformation in this place, so I cannot wait to show you. I'll see you guys in the tour. After many hours of decorating, it is finally finished. This is definitely one of those settlements where decorations make a massive difference. Anyways, let's go ahead and jump in, and I'm going to show you around the place. Hey, what's up guys, welcome back to another tour. And yeah, this is Kingsport Lighthouse. It's taken me ages to decorate this place, I'm not going to lie. Probably one of the longest in terms of decorations out of all the settlements I've been doing. Yeah, as I said earlier, it's an institute research facility, and what they're researching is fish, basically. Whatever they catch on the boat, in the sea. They're just kind of determining what fish you can eat, what you can't eat, what you can do with it, kind of thing. As you guys know, I like to add a bit of lore to the builds here and there. And yeah, before we go straight inside, I'll just show you this area because I didn't actually talk about this. I decided to sink some junk walls quite far down and sort of turn it into like a fencing area with some steel wire there as well. I just wanted to add to this existing fence here, and yeah, it was a bit too open for my liking, so I've kind of turned this into like a barricaded kind of junkyard. So I've kept the branches, put a fire pit, turret of course. Around the side is my usual stuff, just some cargo bits and pieces, turrets, junky items here and there. And this is the first area, a nice little desk under this kind of makeshift shelter that I've made. I've used the vault desk, which fits perfectly in there actually. I wish you could assign someone to the chair without any mods, but no can do. There is another security desk which you can use, but I prefer that one. Just put some bits here. The tree house, as you'd probably guess, it's a bit glitchy for the settlers here. Yeah, let's just ignore that.
You know what I call a good day?
Just a couple of tables, chairs up here. I've managed to squeeze in this big barricade with the rug. I don't want to put too much up there because you don't really want to be seen, do you? To my left there's like a little drinking area, just loads of beers and Nuka-Colas and all that. So I've used this concrete area as like a workshop, so this side you work on your armour. Managed to squeeze in a chair on top of that block as well. The other side, I've kept the mattress. Don't necessarily need to sleep on it, you could just put stuff on it, you know. Big gun with some ammo, power armor workbench. So yeah, this is like the workshop area. Of course I've kept the car, put a couple of engines, one of them's on, one of them's off, just to make it look like we're working on the car here for like, I don't know, maybe get some electronics from it or whatever. On the porch area, just a chair, some flowers here and there. And yeah, this is where the massive transformation is. And here it is. Of course, I've kept whatever was here before, such as that picture. Kept that, obviously. You guys know I love keeping stuff that you can't really place down. The left side, I've kept it how it is, because, of course, the terminal that you can't put down, kept that to include into the settlement. I mean, why would you scrap that anyway? It's a brilliant addition. As well as that lamp, I've kept that. Everything else is basically me. I love using these weapon racks to kind of turn each room into their own. So if you angle it a specific way, it kind of goes straight over the wall, and you can start making like your own kind of doorways and stuff like that. They're really good for that. So I've managed to glitch through one of those shops into the counter just to make it look like she's kind of cooking up some fish and all that, which goes pretty well. Managed to rug glitch a fire pit in the oven to make it look like it's on. I think I did that in my sanctuary build before. I've just, yeah, the right side of the room is all me, and I've kind of added on to the counters here and there. Let's go upstairs. So up here is a little plant research facility, so they're working on mutated plants, kind of doing some research on these computers. And I don't know if you saw before, this kind of whole wall was broken, so I've completely covered it in weapon racks all the way to the top. And it doesn't poke out on the rooftop because you've got those kind of racks that are kind of like sticking out, so it's quite generous regarding that. And yeah, I just love how separated it is now. Everything has its own dedicated room. In here is like a really tiny bedroom, very tight, but I struggled to find places for beds, so I did what I could in here. Now settlers probably can't sleep in these beds because these wooden bits are in the way, but realistically you climb over and get into bed, wouldn't you? So it looks pretty cool in my opinion. Nice cozy room. And here's the main man's room. Just a simple bed with a table, a couple guns here and there, and his own little desk. And yeah, completely separate room. Really happy with that. And let's go outside. To my left is more of what we saw earlier, workshop stuff, power arms and all that. Around here is a nice bench, and we've actually got a toilet this time. I always forget to put a toilet in my settlements, but this time I've made a dedicated kind of shelter. Just some barbecue stuff, people to cook stuff here and there. Got my water generator there. I've also got some water generators in the sea where the boathouse is, which you will see at some point. I do like to add some greenery to the dead bushes as well, just to give it a bit of life, you know. Now it's quite funny that I've built on a lighthouse because my grandparents actually own a lighthouse for real. They bought this lighthouse back in 2008 and it's based around Beachy Head, Eastbourne area in England obviously. So yeah, they bought it back in 2008 and it was pretty run down, so they did up the whole thing. It was on TV and everything, and they basically turned it into like a bed and breakfast hotel, if you want to call it that. I'm really proud of what they've achieved with this lighthouse. It's an incredible bit of history, and I just love the fact that they've preserved it, you know. I'll give you like a brief history of it. So it was built in 1832. It's called the Belletout Lighthouse. Sounds French, I know. I don't know why. I think I'll have to ask my granddad about that again. But yeah, it was built in 1832. It was decommissioned in 1902 because it wasn't doing its job properly. And that's because the cliff was breaking off and they were worried about the life of the lighthouse because it would eventually fall into the sea. And also the sea fog was very, very strong, so it wasn't really doing its job properly. So a new lighthouse was built at the bottom of the cliff, and yeah, that's still operating today. So the lighthouse is not used as a lighthouse, but it's been under loads of ownerships until obviously my grandparents. But a cool little fact is during World War II, the Canadians actually used it as target practice, and I think you can actually see a couple of bullet holes today on the actual building, which is pretty cool. And talking about World War II, this actually featured in the film Pearl Harbor. As they fly from England over the cliffs, you can actually see the lighthouse in the background, which is so cool. Before my grandparents owned it, in 1999, they actually had to move it back because it was getting so close to the cliff edge. And what they did was lift the foundations with hydraulics and moved it back like literally centimeters each day. It was a very slow and delicate process. I think you can find that stuff on YouTube. I think it's like on a BBC video somewhere. So cut a long story short, it's a bed and breakfast / hotel, which means you could stay there if you want. I know most of my audience are American, so if you ever visit England, maybe that'd be a cool place to stay for like the weekend or a week, however long you want to stay. And for my fellow Brits, definitely check it out. I'll leave a link to the website in my description if you want to book and stay there, whatever you like. Some of you might live close by, or some of you might be visiting in that area. So yeah, I just want to say hello to my grandparents. So hello, they're probably watching this. They don't quite understand my videos, but I love the fact that they take interest and they try to understand, and yeah, it's really cute, you know. So hello. Yeah, let's carry on with the actual lighthouse in game. Sorry if I bored you too much, but I felt right to mention it, you know, because I'm so proud of them, and lighthouse in game / lighthouse in real life. You get what I mean. So yeah, let's have a look at this place. Loads of crates with ammo, chems, and so on. Little desk. So obviously I've used the lighthouse as like a security post because why wouldn't you? You can look everywhere, across the sea, across the land. Yeah, I've managed to rug glitch these computer things into the wall, and they don't actually stick out on the other side, which is surprising. It really fits into the Institute kind of vibe. This floor, you can't really do a lot of these floors because it's so small and condensed, so just did some storage and some chairs here and there. Up here on this floor, another table, chairs, just weapons and ammo and all that, because yeah, as I said, it's a security post. weapons workbench. Yeah, I've kind of decorated what I could because yeah, it needs decorations on here. It looks very empty and boring. Up here, little chemistry kind of workbench for, I don't know, stim packs or whatever. We have a security guy up here looking across the pond.
Ain't looking for trouble.
Not pond, sea. Just, yeah, what you'd expect in a security post. Big bins, big guns, ammo, snipers. And I've used this exactly what it's used for. I've just added loads of lights and just put some flashing lights as well just to add to it. Put a bed in there, a box table. I didn't want to have it completely empty. I've made it look like we're kind of fixing some stuff up in there. But yeah, you can see absolutely everywhere. Hence why you should have it as a security post. Because those guys over there aren't too friendly. So yeah, this is the reinforced cliff area. I just put some benches, little table, drinks here and there. More of a chill out area for everyone. And there's a big bush here which was so annoying, so I walled it all off, made a massive fire pit, and yeah, just put a cooking station over it. Behind me is just some fishing stuff. There's loads of fishing rods everywhere. I actually go fishing myself in real life, believe it or not. I go carp fishing. It's quite popular in the UK, not so much in America, but I love my carp fishing. So as you saw earlier, this whole area is sealed off for good reason, because yeah, security feels a bit more, you know, a bit better around here. There's more fishing stuff down here, as you would guess. Loads of fishing rods and just like Far Harbour kind of style stuff. Yeah, this is the boathouse. We got kind of like a broken laboratory there because there's a new one in the actual boathouse. I've blocked off this because I wanted to keep it as a dead end on the other side. I've just put some like wooden bits on this weapon rack because it goes with the vibe, you know. And this is where they do more of their research on the fish. Various creatures hanging up that they work on. I've added quite a lot in here actually. There's only a couple of bits that was already here. Yeah, these barrels were here. Yeah, I didn't want to go too mad in here because it's a very fragile boathouse, you know. Back here, of course, I had to keep those barrels because you can't really put anything on here really because it slopes down a bit and it makes it really difficult to build. Down here is just storage for, yeah, just junky items. Couldn't really figure out what to put in there. And the boat itself, I managed to build a tiny shelter on top. I didn't want to build anything too massive because it's a boat at the end of the day. I've just put these kind of raider cloth coverings over it. I feel like it looks different enough. And as I said earlier, it's more of a decorational job, so just filled any kind of space I could. Got a nice chair in here. Yeah, nothing too crazy. Most you can do really is put some buckets down, bathtubs to put all the fish in, fishing cages. And you can actually access the boat from here, unfortunately, so I put some stuff to try and block it out. There was like another wooden pallet going across, but you can actually destroy that if you like shoot it. But yeah, that is pretty much the tour finished. Obviously I'll give you some night shots, but yeah, thank you very much for watching this tour. Yeah, I just had to give you some night shots because look at that lantern room, it looks so cool at night. Obviously I'll show you the rest of the build. Haven't done too much, especially with the boat. I've just relied on candles and stuff like that. Just want to quickly thank you for 40,000 subscribers and a thank you for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one, guys. Cheers.